Hey everyone, welcome back to the Habs Tonight channel. We have some breaking news going down in Habs land. Before we get into that, I am joined with my fabulous co-host Nick Lemire. We tried to get Dale on today, but he's actually at a baby shower today. So we are going to be breaking down the news in the Montreal Canadiens world today as it's going down. But first, Nick, how are you doing today?
I am doing good. Beautiful sleep after a beautiful win last night. We don't get them often, so we got to enjoy them. How about you?
Oh, pretty good, pretty good. I think we're building a crib today for you, so that's going to be exciting. But
Ooh,
first, we got to get into this. During the game last night, everybody knows Scott Mellanby resigns from his post as assistant general manager to Marc Bergevin and the Montreal Canadiens, and then the rumors start swirling about Jeff Gorton coming out as a possible president of hockey ops
mm,
for the Montreal Canadiens, and that is Jeff Gorton with a T, not a D. He is not the NASCAR driver. So Jeff Gorton, known for his work with the Rangers and the Boston Bruins. This is huge. Nick, what are your thoughts on this? I know everybody's been howling for a president of hockey ops the last numerous years, but
yeah.
it finally looks like it's happening.
I'm super happy about it. Like you said, we've been talking about this even on this channel for the past few months. I've had some talks about Dale with it as well. Really happy to see that we went after Jeff, especially with this experience with the New York Rangers. As we know, he led the Rangers to, I think it was a cup final, I think.
Three Eastern
And
Conference Finals, I think, too.
exactly. So he's got a resume that's pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. So it's not gonna be a move that's gonna help us right away this season, even though obviously the fans want to change right now, but this is gonna be a long-term investment that could pay off.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing. It's a move that is going to bring in a new era for the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the old era is over. The 10 years that Bergevin had. Don't get me wrong. Conference finals with Dale and Carey Price back in 2014. Stanley Cup final last year. It was a good run, but when you are changing your or adding a president of hockey ops, and then we saw Chris Johnson came out with a tweet saying that they will be replacing Bergevin with a French GM, which is not a surprise, but it looks like a GM's
Yeah.
on a horizon as well as Gordon as the president of hockey ops, which means a whole front office change, which means a complete overhaul of the system. Um, it's
Which
tough,
is
but
about time. We've
yeah,
been talking about it for the past few weeks. It's been talked about for the past few years as well. So I think it's a long time coming to, if you're going to clean house, clean house. Do it from the top. So it's changed. Fans wanted change. Fans wanted something new. Here it is, you guys. Honestly, and per Darren Dreger, in the last about 20 minutes or so, this is what's going on. Things continue to develop in Montreal, and all signs are indicating that Jeff will be soon become the head of president. Sorry, head up hockey operations for the Canadiens. Can't talk this morning again. So this is great news in my opinion. I mean, this is somebody who's going to be between your GM, between your owner, and hopefully facilitating things and helping out. Like I
yeah.
can't see where this is a bad move,
No,
personally.
and I think honestly, with the president of hockey ops and potentially a new GM, I mean, the writing's on the wall essentially for a new GM. It's just a matter of when. And I think honestly, if Burge isn't the guy, you're gonna have to name the guy soon so he can most likely get a whole new scouting staff in place. We know their draft is in Montreal. Bergevin did a great deal with the Christian Dvorak trade where the first pick one of the picks is protected top 10. So it's
Yeah.
that even if the Habs get a top 5 pick, they get to keep that one. They give the other one to Arizona. But if it's outside the top 10, that highest one goes to Arizona. So let's say if the Habs are picking 11th and 25th, the 11th goes to Arizona. But if it's inside the top 10, that top 10 pick stays with Montreal with a draft in Montreal with a whole new front office, new scouting staff, I'm going to assume, new general manager. Um, I'm not sure if it's going to be a complete rebuild where they sell the farm, but I think it's going to be absolutely a change in direction, a change in drafting, and hopefully a change in how they utilize some of their players and prospects and development of those players.
100%. You take a look at the past 10, 13 years or whatever, basically since the Timmins era, the player development has not been to its potential. You have what, three out of them that maybe kept going or did something with the organization or another organization. So it's a long time coming. And like you said, there's been a lot of confusion on how those draft picks are going to work, but you got to hand it to Marc Bergevin for protecting that top 10 this season. That was an amazing move, and it's going to come in handy, especially if the team keeps going the way it's going right now. I can't imagine if, let's say, hypothetically here, that you were to pick first and draft Shane Wright, but that pick went to Arizona. Can you imagine the shit show in this fan base if that were to
Exactly.
happen?
Yeah, and it's a
I
deep
can't.
draft
Like,
as
I don't want to
well.
be around that. It is. So
Yeah.
there's potential to draft big and hopefully plan for the future. So as for, we've talked about a fire sale before. So I'm seeing maybe a clean house, which I have no issues with, but your fire sale and trading everybody or rebuilding or whatever you want to call it is all going to depend on guys like Carey Price. I see him playing another maybe year or two, seeing how the team is doing. If the team's not doing well and keep like going forward, I don't blame him for asking to be traded and going to a contending team. And
Yeah, 100%.
that's where you start your rebuild or your fire sale or whatever you want to call it. There's still a bit of time to start. If you change the front office, give it another year or two to see how that office is going to do, and you go from there. You don't just start trashing everything as of this season. It's one bad season, and I mean bad, like really bad. It hasn't been this bad in forever. This is our worst start in the organization's history. So I don't know. I don't give up right away. I say you let the season go to shit if that's what you want, and then you see what happens next year, especially with a clean house. A lot of things
Yeah.
can change with just the front office, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I think you make a great point too, is where you don't burn it down to the ground completely right now. And I don't think you really can, just because of the contracts. Anderson
Yeah,
signed long term. Toffoli's got a few more years. Hoffman's got a couple. Gallagher's got a few. Price has a
Petrie.
few. Petrie, Suzuki, Caulfield, Romanov. These are all young. So the core is
Yeah,
there. It's going to be interesting how they tweak it or what they decide to do with it. I think you can assume Ben Sherratt will be gone at the deadline. And that's why they need to bring in a new GM sooner rather than later, because you have a
yeah,
deadline with a team that you need to capitalize on your assets. And Ben Sherratt, I know some fans aren't the biggest supporters of him, but he will net you a first round pick at the deadline. He played top 4 solid minutes in the playoffs last year. GMs are aware of how he can play and what he can bring. And I think he gets you a first round pick. So there's a possible other first round pick in a deep draft in Montreal. So it's how they assess it. But I like what you said, where I don't think it's going to be a complete burn it to the ground, Arizona style or Buffalo style. I really don't,
it's
just
not
because of
gonna
the
fly in
contracts you have.
Montreal, and
No,
it's not gonna fly in Montreal. I don't see that ever happening. It's
you
gonna be
might
like,
have to, though. At
yeah,
some
no,
point,
for
it's
sure.
going to
I
be,
agree.
yeah.
I agree. I mean, you don't want to see it happen because you like this team and you like every single guy who plays for Montreal right now. But at some point, if the team keeps going like this, pardon my dogs, they're not happy about it either. It's gonna happen at some point. Every
Because
team's
that's
done
what
it.
gets you in the mess. When you
Look at
try to stay competitive every year, it's when you get caught in that limbo of the middle of being competitive
yeah,
in playoffs, out of playoffs, depending on the year. And either, like I said, like you said, with these contracts and stuff, give it a year or two, see what you have. But it may be a burn it down. But I mean, you have some
could be,
great pieces that Burge has brought in with Suzuki, Caulfield, Romanov, Norlander. There's
yeah,
some few other prospects, Paling as well. Jake Evans playing great hockey right now. Lekkonen's been great. He might be another one that might be moved at the deadline. Hate to see him go,
yeah.
but valuable piece, might fetch you something good. Um, just interesting times, and it's nice to finally. Deke said it in the group chat last night. Like, there's finally a sense of direction. We
Yeah.
know, as fans, we know season's over. I mean, most fans knew that. Um, the mathematics on getting into the playoffs are slim to zero.
It's yeah,
So now there's a sense of direction. You can watch the games, assess people's roles, but also just enjoy it now. Just enjoy watching your favorite team play hockey. That's all I got to say.
whatever happens, happens. There's no
Yeah.
expectations. That's
Yeah.
basically the best way of putting it. My question to you though is, it's been questioned around social media. Do you let the kids play or do you send the kids back and write off the season?
Ooh.
What do you do?
I'm torn on that one. I like both sides of it. It's either give the kids the reins,
Yeah.
let them hit the ground running. I don't know other analogies to say, but like it's either play them a lot or send the ones that are eligible back down to Laval and let them go after a Calder Cup. Either
Yeah.
way, I think it's a win-win. But this healthy scratching Norlander and putting on the third pairing and Paling on the fourth line, I don't know. I think it, like you said, it's either play them a lot, play them in situations that they're going to be playing in a few years from now, or send them to Laval, let them dominate, go for a Calder Cup or playoffs, what have you. But the decision has to be made soon on what they want to do with the younger guys.
100%. It's I'm kind of torn as well. I mean, obviously we want to see the kids play. This is what we enjoy. We're all a fan of Cole Caulfield. We're all a fan of Bren Paling. We enjoy seeing them play, but I have this part of me as well that's saying send them back in the A, let them get the experience, let them play, and let them be in a positive atmosphere. Because right now, Nick Suzuki said it. Like he's trying to joke around with the boys. He's trying to uplift the spirit, but it's a shit environment. We're not going to sugarcoat it. It's not pretty. So I don't know. I kind of feel like send him down in a winning atmosphere. Like you said, let him go for a Calder. The team is doing well in Laval. So I'm kind of torn too. But like you said, a decision needs to be made and fast because you can't mess around with it,
Yeah.
in my
And
opinion.
with Chris Johnson's tweet just going back on this, it all depends what Jeff Gorton does, but as a potential next GM, who are we looking at here? We got a Patrick Roy. We have Madden Jr. in Anaheim. We have
Mathieu Dash.
Darsh in Tampa Bay. So there's three candidates right there. I'm not
Ooh.
sure if they're going to go with a young GM.
There was rumor, this is again rumor on Twitter of Roberto Luongo.
I don't hate that either. That'd be kind of
I
interesting.
don't hate that.
Yeah,
I don't hate that. But
that'd be
do you
cool.
want to go with a former player or do you want to go with somebody who's a little bit more businessy and experience?
I'm not
Like
sure.
for me, Patrick Roy, if he were to come into the organization, I would take him GM over coach. There's no way this kid's going to coach. He's way too hothead. It's not going to happen. As a GM, I'm still unsure. It's not my number one pick. I'm not a fan of it, but it was confirmed that Patrick Roy has not been contacted for a
Yes.
GM position. So everybody can get off their high horses. It has been confirmed. But you've got
Yep.
plenty of different candidates that you can pick from. It's just going to be, I don't know how they're going to go about this.
Me
I
neither.
really
That's what
don't.
I mean. Like, do you have, because Jeff has been a GM before and he's going to be president of hockey operations. That's why I don't know if they're going to go with a young GM or if they're going to bring in the Madden Jr., Darsh, Patrick Roy. The list could go on, but it's kind of exciting. Unfortunately, I've said it last night. It's like an end of an era, which kind of it sucks. I mean, we are the biggest Carey Price supporters. Gallagher, what Webby did. Uh, it's just unfortunate, but also as a fan, you can't help but get. I know it's not going to change anything right this minute, but you can't help
No.
but be a little bit excited of something different's going to come about this. Maybe different player development, different scouting. We might finally get that puck moving D everybody's been crying for. It's just it sucks, but it's kind of exciting at the same time.
It's 100% exciting. I see it as a thank you, Marc Bergevin, for everything that you've done. There were some questionable moves. I do agree that there's some things that nobody's going to agree with. But
Yep.
as his tenure for the last 9 years, this guy brought you to conference final, a Stanley Cup final. He built you a team in the past 3 years that has the potential of going all the way. And we almost saw it last season. And this season, it's not for the lack of talent. This team has talent and they have the high caliber players to do it. It's just a matter of putting the effort in. Is it the system? Is it the message that's not getting across? Is it the drafting? It seems to be a little bit more um, office wise, if we can say,
Yeah.
but
Off
the
ice.
players do have a responsibility on the ice. I completely agree with
100%.
what Josh
Yep.
Anderson said. They do have that responsibility. So
Yep.
it's kind of 50-50. But I am extremely excited because people have been complaining. Jeff Molson sitting there with his arms crossed and not doing anything. Well, here's your move, guys. It's starting, it's rumbling, the talks are being held. This is what we need. So whether you like it or not, it will be exciting in the future. It's not a right now plan, it's a long run plan.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Oh, and I like what you said too about Bergevin, what he's done. I'm not sure if you can show that tweet again about
Yeah.
Berge found out about this last night. According to Louis Jean on TVA Spa, he had previously recommended Mellanby to replace him, but was kept in the dark on any ongoing talks and negotiations. So Molson has been making moves in the background. You've got to assume the last couple of weeks. He was made aware of the rumors through the media, remains the GM as we speak. So I was talking to Nick about this before we went for the recording is, say what you want about Bergevin and his moves as per the Montreal Canadiens. Critique him that way, that's fine. But on a personal level, you can tell he cared about his players. We remember the pictures last year, him hugging Carey Price and Shea Weber when they got to the Stanley Cup final. So as a person, I mean, you can't harp on Bergevin. As a GM, if you're for or against him, either way, leave the personal attacks out of it when it is time. But you just got to say thank you because the writing's on the wall. It's only a matter of time. It's not official yet that he's gone, but crazy stuff happening in Habsland.
I want to touch as well on what you said here with this is Pierre Lebrun's tweet from last night. So Scott Mellanby was referred by Marc Bergevin to be the next Hab GM. So this is when I'm wondering where things kind of turned, because they had extensive talks about it, and then Molson turns around and informs him that he's not interested anymore.
Which
So
I don't mind. Sorry to cut you off because
no, I don't.
Mellanby's been Berge's first hire, so he's been there the last 10 years. I'm
Yeah,
happy it's a complete clean out. I mean, obviously,
exactly.
besides Ducharme, I'm hoping this is not against Timmins personally. I hope he's gone as well. I hope it's a whole new front
Fresh
office, like a
slate.
whole new, new vision, new methods, stuff like that. So I'm not disappointed that Mellanby resigned after he didn't get it, but I'm happy that Molson is finally looking to change the whole setup.
Thank you. Exactly.
Yes.
It's why replace somebody with somebody who's already there in a lower position? No, like you said, get a new vision, fresh start, clean slate. Who knows what that's going to do, right? I
Yeah.
mean, no disrespect to Mellanby. I'm pretty sure he can reach out and get a position somewhere else. I'm thinking maybe Anaheim. There's many different positions open right now for either assistant GMs or GMs by the end of the season. So I'm just curious to see. I know Renaud Lavoie is not the most reliable source out there, but he was pretty active last night, consistently saying that his sources were saying it's rumbling behind the walls. It's going to come crumbling down either today or this week. So is that just the signing of Gorton, or is it Bergevin being gone? Is like I'm just wondering what else is brewing. I'd like to be behind the scenes and knowing what's going on, because there's so much, like you said, there's the GM, there's development, there's Timmins. At this point, I don't see Dominique Ducharme being let go whatsoever. He just signed an extension. So, in my personal opinion, they might keep him for this year, write it out, see how it goes. And then if it just goes to shit and he loses the room, maybe a replacement over the summer. Do you see it
Yeah.
happening in his first year, or do you see him writing it out?
I definitely think he's going to ride it out this year. There's no sense in changing the coach right now. But as Ducharme, I've been kind of weary the last couple of weeks the way he's utilizing players. But I
Yeah.
also don't know if that's Bergevin because I know Claude Julien was a conservative coach, and Ducharme came in and he was kind of known as a great young hockey coach. And then he goes and does the exact same thing Claude Julien's done with the lineups being conservative. So I don't know if it's Berge that kind of forces the conservatism here, if it's the Montreal Canadiens organization, but maybe you see a change. Maybe they give him a fresh start next year with different players in different roles. Maybe a
Mhm.
puck moving D brought in XYZ. So I don't know. Maybe they assess in the summertime and see and let him start next year fresh with a new group, new management. See how he does that way. So I'm kind of
Yeah.
curious. But if they do let him go, I think it will be either in the summer if they want to completely overhaul everything. But I do think he's going to be here for the rest of the year because he has to. The good thing about his contract is it's not that much money. I mean,
Yeah.
Molson probably wouldn't even know it, but it does suck. There's a 3-year extension, but this year he's staying he's staying for this season 100%, and I'm 50-50 on what they're going to do in the summer.
So my next question to you, I guess, would be, let's say you do keep Dominic Ducharme to get that fresh start, like you said. Do you change anything else behind the bench? Like, let's say power play with Alex Burrows, Luke Richardson with the defense. Do you make any changes with the assistant coaching?
I'm not sure. I really wouldn't know. I don't know enough to make a logical argument for either or. I think obviously Ducharme picked Burr to be with them. We showed flashes of the power play doing well. I still think I'd like to see Norlander get a shot on it because that's
Yeah,
what he's here for. It's
beautiful skate.
it's painfully obvious what they need on the power play. But do they give it to him? That's what I'm kind of hoping. Like, it was this Bergevin's kind of, no, you got to play this way, that way. The vets get the ice time. I'm honestly on the point now where it's like whoever plays the best gets the ice time. Season's lost. Sorry if it hurts your feelings if you've been with the team for 8 years, but if you're not playing well enough, this played off merit. And I think
Yep.
with the power play, I think Burrows, I think he needs a couple more pieces. And I'm not sure if it's Ducharme that's not letting him, or Bergevin not letting him, or Burr's not seeing it. These guys are all smart hockey minds. They made the
Yeah.
NHL for a reason, but something's got to change. Something's got to get better, and I'm not sure how it's going to go about. So I wouldn't know if they're staying or going just because I don't know how it works with Ducharme, or if it's a GM decision or stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Coming back to Norlander, like you said, watching him play last Saturday when I was at ice level, he's a beautiful skater. I don't know, he's got that thing about him, but he's also not ready. He's kind of
Exactly.
like in between. Like, the season's lost. I would love to keep him for him to get the experience, but I would also like to send him back to Sweden to get his proper development. But
Yep,
like
send him
you
back
said,
for the rest of the year.
he earned a few power play minutes. At this point, what do you got to lose? Just try it out, see what works. And I fully agree with, it doesn't matter if you've been here a year, 9, 10, 15. It's about merit. Jake Evans has been playing some incredible hockey. I see him as my number 2 center lately, just because he's earned it. Try it out. Nick Suzuki was pushed back to the third line center last night. Was not expecting to see that, but his line with Caulfield and
Drew
worked out. You know, I know we're saying Suzuki's your number 1 center, but it worked out. So try it out. I mean,
Yeah, and I wouldn't put too much stock in a lost season on what line it is, just because
yeah,
they're just trying anything now. And we know Suzuki's going to be the number 1 center for years to come. So if they see it in the third line in warmups or whatever it is, it's just it doesn't really mean that much, because they don't play one line more than the other that much, except for the fourth line doesn't play. Like,
yeah,
the first 3 lines kind of roll anyways, so I wouldn't be too concerned about it. But if it's what works, or if what they need to get 3 lines rolling is for Nick to be down there, great, because I mean, he's gonna be a great player. He's gonna be the first line center. It's just a lost season, so I think Ducharme's just kind of trying to find something to get all 3 lines rolling. And Christian Dvorak, I want to touch on him quickly. I know
yes.
this is about the hockey operations and everything, but he seems to be turning it around as well. I'm not sure if he had an injury nagging at the start of the year, a change of system, the spotlight, all the intangibles off the ice. It looks like he seems to be getting a little bit better, maybe a little bit more comfortable. I know it's too late in the season. There's no excuse for it, but it's nice to see him turn around, because we got him for another 2 or 3 years as well. So,
Mhm.
like I said, the contracts on this team, it's going to be hard for the hockey ops to come in and overhaul the roster because of the contracts. So it'll be interesting for sure.
Definitely interesting. I mean, I absolutely loved Dvorak's preseason. I thought he was an impact player. Had a lot of expectations for him, and his start of the season was just god awful. I mean, he's minus 16. Like, I was not expecting that from him. The only consistency we've been seeing from him is in the face-off circle, so that's one point that I'm happy. And I will admit, I was firsthand. I was one of the people that was constantly nagging him, but his past 2 weeks, a big switch.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy with his development. And Drew and I said it, I think, on a show, that you're switching from Western to Eastern. huge switch. You're coming into the spotlight, like you said. It's a new system. There's a lot of adapting. So, it's kind of like David Savard, who hasn't been reliable at all on D since the season started, but his past few games have not been as bad. So it's nice to see. It's too late, like you said, but I don't know. Maybe these guys just needed a little bit more time, but it's unfortunate that it took this much time.
Yeah, and who knows when Joel Edmondson comes back? I'm not talking playoffs, just as a
Mm.
fan to watch better hockey from the Montreal Canadiens. So I guess that's my one thing I would say to the most of the people that watch this is, um, it's comforting knowing there's a direction now, or the wheels are in motion for a new direction. Um,
Yeah.
so hopefully, just the rest of the year, the Habs play some good hockey, win or lose. Just make it exciting to watch, fun to watch. Support the guys. These guys are NHL players, but also humans. They don't want to lose. They don't like losing. They see the writing on the wall, how the season's going. But I think if we still support them, don't have to shit on them. They know they're not doing well. They know their record. They know what's wrong. But I think as fans, I think we just support them. We have fun with the rest of the year. We know the changes are coming, a big draft coming up, new people in charge. So it's going to be fun. And that's all. I
Yeah.
guess my last word is really just let's just enjoy the rest of the year, support the team, support the guys, and have fun with it.
I think that's very well said. As long as we see a constant effort from the guys, that's what matters, regardless of
Exactly.
the outcome. Is I want to see them have fun. I want to see them playing good hockey, and whatever happens, happens. I mean, no expectations from this point on my end. It is what it is. As long as
Yeah.
we see a change in the front office and we see things more clearly, that's what matters by the end of the season. So before we log off, just want to remind you guys that we do still have our 20% off store wide. If you want to use the promo code DALE at checkout, the discount will be applied. You can head up to habstonight.net to get your official Habs Tonight merch. Lots of new stuff that came out this week and last week too. As for this week, I think you guys have cans coming back, right?
Yeah, I believe so. This Friday coming up. We might get a guest on, not sure yet, but
Oh,
Ken should
nice.
be back this week. Some hopefully some more news regarding the Montreal
Yeah,
Canadiens, but should be a fun week coming up. I think they're
for sure.
playing the Vancouver Canucks Monday night.
Canucks tomorrow, and I don't have the schedule for the rest of the
Yeah,
week.
it's no big deal.
But
But yeah,
Canucks, I mean, not having the best season them also. So let's see if we can pull off some last season magic on them and maybe string 2 wins in a row.
yeah, there we go.
That's
All
going to be
right,
my
everybody.
positive outtake for the week. So, Brando, thanks for jumping on with us and with me, I should say, not us. And we'll try to maybe get Dale for a roundtable this week or something and
Absolutely.
get back to you guys soon. So, enjoy the weekend. Happy Thanksgiving to our American fans, and we'll see you guys soon.
See you
Cheers.
guys.